I am Julia. I have been shunned by the entire village because of the ugly scar on my face. I lived with Marcus, a blind man with a pure heart. But sometimes I wondered, if Marcus could see my ugly face, would he still love me? Though my heart was filled with worries, I still loved Marcus dearly. Recently, couples in the village had been mysteriously disappearing. The villagers believed that our love was a curse that brought misfortune upon them. Whenever we went out, they would point fingers and curse at us. One furious couple even shouted,
"Go away, you cursed pair!"
Overwhelmed by anger, I picked up a small stone and threw it back at them. The murmurs and gossip grew fiercer. But the next day, that couple suddenly went missing. The villagers immediately accused us of being the culprits. We were dragged into the street and pelted with stones. I cried and tried to prove my innocence, but the villagers ignored me. Suddenly, the village chief appeared. He calmed the crowd, urging them to continue searching for the missing couple. The villagers reluctantly dispersed. The chief whispered to us,
"Poor souls, go to the statue of Cupid and pray sincerely. He will take pity on you and grant you blessings."
We thanked the chief and followed his advice. We were praying before Cupid's statue, but a voice suddenly echoed,
"Who is praying here? Cupid cannot turn a blind eye to unfortunate love. Oh, you pitiful souls, follow me."
Cupid led us to his castle, where we were welcomed with a feast. Marcus joyfully drank a glass of wine. For a brief moment, I saw his eyes come to life.
I can see the light. Is that you, Julia?
His joyful expression suddenly turned to horror. I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew at that moment Marcus had seen my ugly appearance. Shame overwhelmed me. Marcus's eyes returned to their usual blindness, but his face twisted in pain.
That was the temporary effect of the divine wine. Don't dwell on it. Now tell me your wishes.
I immediately begged Cupid to bless us with eternal love so that the villagers would accept us as normal people.
I wish to share my desire in private.
Unable to bear the worry in my heart, I followed them and eavesdropped from behind a wall.
Make me able to see, I'm begging you.
Very well, but on one condition. You must offer a heart in exchange.
Marcus fell silent, but his silence was like a deafening explosion in my heart. After the wine feast, we returned home.
I am Marcus. A cruel illness stole the light from my eyes. If I regained my sight, could I find a prettier girl? But Julia had cared for me all this time. How could I betray her? Suddenly, I heard the village chief's voice.
"Is something troubling you, young man?"
I poured out my heart to him. The chief whispered,
"True love demands sacrifice. Stop hesitating. Take her heart in exchange for your sight. Your life will be happier."
I stood over Julia's bed, listening to her steady breaths. She was deep asleep. Julia's tearful voice broke the silence.
Marcus, this breaks my heart. You don't have to dirty your hands.
She pressed the blade through her own chest.
Be happy. Take my heart for your eyes.
Oh no, what had I done? Julia was the one who loved me most in this world, and yet I had betrayed her. No, I had to beg Cupid to save her. Cupid, where are you? I called out, but there was no answer, only a chilling silence. I groped in the darkness, and my hand touched something rough, shaped like wings. I had heard that Cupid had wings, but if the wings were here, where was Cupid? Suddenly, a voice rang out.
Have you brought the heart?
My hands trembled as I held Julia's heart. Her heart was snatched away. Is that you, Cupid? Please return her heart and bring her back to life. I no longer want my sight.
There is no Cupid here, you naive fools.
A stinging pain burned my cheek as I trembled in fear. What do you mean?
I need 100 hearts from loving couples to create the elixir of immortality. You were so easy to deceive. The village chief received a hefty sum for luring couples like you here.
I was devastated. It was all a scam. I couldn't hold back my tears. Julia was dead because of my impulsive trust in that fraud and the village chief.
Now your hearts belong to me.
When I matched with Shelby, I thought I'd found someone truly special. We met on a Bumby dating app, just your typical swipe right kind of place. Nothing about her profile screamed bug lover, which was a relief. See, I've always had a deep, gut-level fear of insects. Instant panic. Shelby seemed perfect, and after a week of talking, I was hooked. So, when she suggested we meet in person, I pushed my fear aside and said yes. It was just one irrational phobia after all. What could possibly go wrong? On our first date, Shelby brought along a companion. A Madagascar hissing cockroach that she introduced with a gentle smile. She stroked its shiny black-brown shell as though it were a kitten.
This is Manny.
She said, extending the roach towards me. I smiled, swallowing my surprise. A roach as a pet felt a little unconventional, but I couldn't deny her passion. She was different, unique, and I was intrigued.
I like roaches because when they crawl on my arms, they tickle me.
She murmured, running her fingers down Manny's back.
And when I hold them, they make me feel happy.
Her smile widened and she tilted her head toward me.
Want to try holding him? You might find it addictive.
I tried not to let my discomfort show. Shelby was special, and if she found joy in these creatures, who was I to judge? Tentatively, I held out my hand. But before I could muster the courage, she retracted Manny with a knowing chuckle.
Maybe later.
She teased, her eyes sparkling. The evening flowed, and before I knew it, she was inviting me to her home. She said it was close by and, well, the night was young. I was curious, a little smitten, and before I could talk myself out of it, I agreed. Shelby's house was small and tucked away down a narrow, dark street. I followed her in, and the moment we stepped inside, I noticed something peculiar. At first, I couldn't tell what it was, but then I saw movement. A large shadow shifting near the floor. I blinked, thinking I must have imagined it.
Don't worry.
Shelby whispered, her voice soft and calm.
They're just a little excited. They've been waiting to meet you.
As my eyes adjusted, I saw them. Cockroaches. Massive cockroaches, each nearly 3 feet tall, skittering across the floor. Some even stood on their hind legs, chittering in a way that sounded almost like laughter. Shelby walked forward and petted one of them, like it was her pet dog. It shuddered under her touch, its body quivering in what looked disturbingly like affection.
Say hello to my family.
She said, looking over her shoulder at me, her eyes gleaming. Family? I stammered, inching back as one of the cockroaches leaned toward me, its antennae twitching. The sight of its segmented body, its cold, gleaming eyes, sent a chill down my spine. I fought the urge to flee. Shelby reached out, taking my hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong.
Come on, they're friendly.
she said, her tone soothing yet oddly commanding. She guided me into her bedroom, where the scene only grew more grotesque. Her bed was covered in them, hundreds of cockroaches of all sizes, crawling over each other in a sea of writhing bodies. With a contented sigh, Shelby lay down on the bed, letting them swarm over her, their legs and antennae moving in a strange rhythm as if massaging her. She looked at me with a smile of pure satisfaction, patting the bed beside her.
Lie down with me.
She urged.
You'll feel them relax you. It's like a massage.
I wanted to leave. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to run. But her eyes held me captive, and something about her confidence, her sheer conviction, made me feel almost compelled to stay. Trembling, I lowered myself onto the bed, and the instant I touched it, the cockroaches began crawling up my arms and legs, their tiny legs prickling my skin. I clenched my jaw, trying to hold still. Shelby took my hand, her touch warm and reassuring.
Just relax.
She whispered. I took a shaky breath, attempting to let go of my revulsion, but just then, a cockroach launched itself from her shoulder, straight at my face. When I came to, I was no longer lying down. My arms were stretched above my head, bound tightly to the wall, my feet dangling off the floor. I tried to scream, but a sticky substance covered my mouth, muting my voice. Shelby stood across from me, clapping her hands in delight.
Oh, you're awake! Welcome to Shelby's amazing cockroach show.
My mind reeled as she put the helmet into the roaches, then grinned like a showman ready to begin an act.
For our first trick,
She announced.
we're going to launch Manny here through a hoop of fire, right onto our star. Ron!
No! I tried to scream, but it came out as a muffled grunt. I watched in horror as she placed Manny, the giant cockroach, into the cannon, lit a small flame in front of it, and with a loud boom, Manny shot through the air, passing through the ring of fire and landing on my face. Its legs scratched my skin as it clung to me, its cold, slimy body pressing against me. Shelby laughed, a wild, gleeful sound.
Let's see how many more we can fit.
One by one, she loaded cockroach after cockroach into the cannon, firing them at me with sadistic glee. They stuck to me, their bodies writhing and squirming, covering me from head to toe in a living, churning mass of shells and legs. I felt something sharp, a bite, followed by another. A strange warmth began spreading through me, a sickening, feverish heat that made my skin crawl even beneath the roaches. My vision blurred as Shelby's laughter filled the room, and a voice echoed in my head, repeating her words from earlier.
Welcome to my family.
To whoever finds this letter, I have always hated myself. I was never a striking beauty. My features were plain, unremarkable. People said my face lacked sharpness, that my eyes were too small, my jaw too round. In a world where appearance dictated fate, I felt invisible. I sought answers in the whispers of fortune-tellers, and each time they confirmed my greatest fear. My face held no promise of fame, no fortune written in my features. You do not have the destiny of a star, one told me, peering into my face with quiet finality. Those words echoed in my mind for years, fueling an obsession that would eventually consume me. I wanted to change, but they told me it would take more than just a simple fix. My naive, foolish self, desperate and full of determination, believed them. I was young when I first stepped into the clinic. It was before the turn of the millennium, when cosmetic surgery was still crude, its promises far greater than its reality. I was naive, believing that a scalpel could carve perfection. The doctor assured me that beauty was just an injection away. I did not question him when he plunged the needle into my skin, filling my face with substances I could not name. At first, I felt nothing but excitement. My skin stretched tight, my chin more defined. I thought I was becoming the woman I had always dreamed of. The first few days, I admired my reflection, running my fingers over my sharper jawline, my fuller lips. I could almost believe I was beautiful, but the changes did not stop. My face began to swell, grotesquely ballooning beyond recognition. The tightness became unbearable, my skin straining as if it would split. My cheeks puffed unnaturally, my forehead bulged, and a strange numbness crept over my features. I awoke each morning to find my reflection had twisted further into something monstrous. The more I tried to hide it with makeup, the more it became clear. This was no normal reaction. Panic set in. I sought out other clinics, desperate for help. They examined me with clinical detachment before delivering the verdict. I had been injected with cooking oil. Cooking oil. The words rattled in my skull. I could not process them. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but all I could do was stare as they explained that the oil had seeped into my tissues, impossible to remove completely. The horror was unbearable. I tried to undo the damage, but every attempt at correction only made it worse. More surgeries, more injections, each one a desperate attempt to erase the nightmare staring back at me in the reflection. My skin, once stretched too tight, now sagged in strange places. The tissue swelled unevenly, my cheeks grotesquely large, my lips stiff and misshapen. My nose, once small, had thickened, losing its definition. The more I fought against the transformation, the more it consumed me. As my face distorted further, I became unrecognizable. The skin lost its shape, stretched and sagged in unnatural ways. My features no longer aligned. My cheeks swelled unevenly. My lips twisted into a permanent grimace. I remember the horror in my boyfriend's eyes when he last visited. He could not hide his disgust, no matter how much he tried to feign sympathy. After that day, he stopped coming altogether. Soon, no surgeon would touch me. They all shook their heads, their pity sharper than any knife. It's too late. Nothing can be done. But I refused to accept their words. I did not dare show my face in public. I avoided the outside world as much as possible, locking myself away in my darkened room. I could not bear the stares, the whispers, the disgust written on strangers' faces. But even in isolation, I could not accept my life in such ugliness. Those doctors, who earned fortunes sculpting beauty, had no solution for me. If they could not save me, then I would save myself. I turned to the streets, to the black market, to syringes filled with liquid nightmares. I no longer cared what was inside them. If it promised to smooth my skin, to restore my beauty, I took the risk. Alone in the dark room, I treated myself with the needle of hope. My face became a melting mask, my features distorting into something not quite human. My hands trembled as I traced my swollen cheeks, the uneven patches of flesh where the injections had hardened into lumps beneath my skin. I looked like a wax figure left too close to the fire. People recoiled when they saw me. Strangers whispered behind my back. I stopped leaving my house, stopped answering the door, stopped looking into mirrors, and stopped everything. If you are reading this letter, then I have gone somewhere far away from here. My name is Han Mi-ok. Once, I dreamed of beauty. I longed for admiration, for the kind of allure that could captivate an entire room. I wanted to be loved, to be remembered, to be immortal in the eyes of the world. But now, all that remains of me is this letter and the reflection that haunts my mirror.